Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How's everyone doing? Back to work, first trading day of the week. A little choppy, ending up, back and forth. Uh, so interesting day. Hello, Amit. Hello, Wavy. Slower day. Lots of back and forth. Looks like it's trying to put in that short-term bottom. Good afternoon, Sterling. Huge shout out to Sterling, by the way, with a lot of the Twitter activity going out. So big shout out to Sterling helping out there. So, where do we sit right now? Sorry about the dogs barking. It's a little hard to keep them quiet when it's just me. So, by the way, if you are new here, besides the dog barking in the background, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers and subscribers, please comment on the videos and hit that like button also. Again, one more huge shout out to Sterling, reviving the Path Twitter feed with a lot of great information and charts. After the close today, some earnings, not much that I am really focused on. So if you want me to look at anything, just let me know. I'm more interested tomorrow. We got J&J, Halliburton, Lockheed Martin. So some key stuff there before the open. So that's what I will be checking out. If we want to look at any of those, let me know. Today we had the housing market index come in as expected, and we had Bullard speaking. You can look at the mega caps were sort of mixed. Banks were up. BAC short term little reversal finally after the open. So we'll see Tesla up almost 2%. Oil also up. A lot of other stuff is just trading down when you see some of these things like chips, semiconductors trading up. You're going to have things pull back like in healthcare, consumer defensive, because it was sort of your let's rotate into stuff that's being beaten up. Have you heard about the Tesla bots? If so, what are your thoughts on this upcoming product from Tesla? What the which Tesla bots? The Twitter bots? Oh, by the way, FOMC still almost 90% of the rate hike, and I saw mentioned this afternoon that they're throwing around possible 75 basis point hike. It's still in negative gamma territory, so rallies or sell-offs will be amplified due to hedging activity. Rallies have to be bought into to hedge with negative gamma, and sell-offs have to be sold into to hedge with negative gamma. So keep that in mind. Or are you talking the bots from the what was it last year with the person dancing in the white leotard? Which bots are you talking about? The ones that don't exist? So S&P, little nice little bottoming potential pattern here. Got back above resistance. So watching just for a quick bounce up. Let's see how many days it can get out of it. It's going to get above this key high you see on the shorter term basis. We had the little flag, retested those lows multiple times. Lots of buyers in here today, getting above this key little range. So as long as we can stay above about 4,400, 4,400 is key overnight and going into tomorrow. And you can see now the key support would be right at this 50% level, about 43.66. What I am watching for with the overnight, if we do continue rally, we have this little, when we start getting some closes in here, we got in this little clear path move, stalling out at that 4,400. But if we can get above 4406, 4412, and then 4418, the end of the clear path is technically here on the 1 hour basis, about 4421. So we still have some overhead resistance. Now you have a larger term clear path with the next stopping point would be at about 44.28. So those are all the levels to the downside. I'm really watching to see how much, if any, we retrace in this little move up, because that will be very telling. So here's where I'm keying off of. If we do pull back, the major line in the sand, if we had something come out, is about 43.75. Close below that would be a retest of the lows. Until that, my major support area then is coming in about 43.87. So they're working on a robot that will be coming in a few years. Apparently will have multiple uses. It's pretty new, so I wonder if it'll help the stock price. I know the robot. You know, talk to some real people. I have an engineering background. I am actually a trained engineer. I know some people who have PhDs in robotic engineering, and they think what they're doing is absolutely full of crap. Let's put it that way. So there you go. The ones that aren't being produced yet, only in the prototype stage, and a lot of people who actually are in that professional stage who've been working on robotics at a very advanced level for years think he is absolutely full of crap, especially with what he's trying to put out there with design prototypes and everything else. Hello, Mike. ARC looking like bottom fills soon. We could take a look at that, George. Mike, with this prediction tool helps to give the market and participants an idea of rate expectations. Would it be a shock and off they did a 1%? 1% would be devastating. Even a 75 basis point hike would be major. That would probably disrupt the markets. 50's now baked in at this point. 75 would shock the markets, and 1 would completely shock the markets. I mean, it could get real interesting then. Good to hear your take. I have no info on robots, so wanted to know your thoughts. Elon, the expert in every field. So that's my thoughts. There we go. So that's my key line in the sand for this overnight is about the short-term one. I don't really want to see it drop below 43.87. Rich will peek it. Look, U.S. dollar looks stronger than Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Now are we bringing in that into the live stream? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. This live stream could get interesting. Here you go with the NASDAQ. Let me just go over the lines of sand with this first. The key area I'm watching on the NASDAQ due to its volatility is about 13,866 and don't want to see a close below. Hold on 1 second. All right. Don't want to see a close below. Where is it? This one right here. 13,831 area. That would then be a retest of the lows. To the upside, boy, I'm distracted now. To the upside above this 14,000 target, 14,037, then 14,070. You have this little pausing bar right by this first harmonic, so do not ignore that. That would be the end of this 1 hour clear path. Then your next major target above all this would be a retest of the 50% harmonic, 14,108, and then 14,275. And I'm listing out these numbers in case people can't just tune into every live stream, so you have them on a continued rally. Really, though, do not ignore. Let me jump back to a couple things. The S&P, you see the overhead rotation zone is right up at this 37.5 harmonic. So on the continued rally before even the end of that clear path, 44.33 is going to be very key to watch for. NASDAQ, you see the rotation zone overhead is about 14,186. So these can easily pop into these rotation zones on this little bounce play and then roll over again. So that's why I'm talking about a short-term bounce. The Dow only up 15 basis points, just holding barely above this little level. Watching for on the Dow based off this little choppy run up. This was just a mess in the Dow today, but I don't want to see it close back below about 34,300 because then I'll watch for a retest of today's lows. Other than that, Dow, I'm just keying off about 34,500. If we get above 34,500, I'm at 34,615 area. And to the downside, if we break below today's lows, I'm going back to 34.84. Would help to remove speculation in various markets, and additional hikes would give the Fed ammo for a future liquidity issue. Yeah, but they're not going to do it. They've been look how long they kept QE in place. They do not, and look how long they've been warning the markets what's going to come. Their last thing they want to do is disrupt these markets. The last thing they want to do. So they'll let stuff spiral out of control even more because they're erring on the side of not disrupting the markets. We're also coming down to that 1979 key support, not yet 2006, but I need a breakout or breakdown above or below those key levels. A breakout above 2006, I'd be targeting 2025. A breakdown below 1979, I'm targeting 1941. DAX key resistance, if it does rally again when Europe opens, is about 14,300, and support is 14,065, 66 in there. So those are the two levels I'm working on there. Crude could not get that first harmonic and pulling back. Just keeping an eye. We had a potential double that got invalidated there. So now my key level, key support is 105.70 area. About let's go 105.66. If we break below that, I'm going back to about 104.40. So those are my levels on there, but we still have this, at least a short-term upside bias in consolidation. Would not be surprised though with cycles starting to top if we did get a little mini pullback, but there's no great trade in here right now. Let's see. Gold, again, could not sustain its rally with the market moving up. I'm watching for that pullback to 1967. Silver, pretty much the same pattern, although acting a little stronger. 2620 is your key resistance. Again, we could not close above the 62.5. So still watching for that to retest, if we get the close above that, to retest the highs. What else do we have? Notes, double bottom play still in... still possible. Again, it's a potential double bottom because we don't have the trade yet above 121.09. Short term, it could be an aggressive entry on a daily close above today's high. That's something I'm watching short term. It is interesting though because the cycles have rotated back up to getting in a toppy area. So we'll have to see if it's going to move sideways a bit or slightly up and then retest the lows again. You want Robinhood. Robinhood, you do have a potential double. That's, you have an aggressive buy tomorrow on a close above today's high. You need a closing base above today's high. Keep in mind you are going against the rotation zone. So, and then the double triggers 1208. And then your targets are 1267, 1297, 1326, and you do have a couple gaps still here. So keep that in mind. If you break below 1084, I'd be focused on this 1013 level. You also have a fair amount of significance right there. 1013 and 994 would be the next. If we did break down below 1084, that would be the next area that I would be targeting to the downside. If it does trigger that whole double all the way to the targets, that would be a pretty decent target area since that's where the 50 is. So other than that, there's nothing long term. It's just that potential short term bullish play and that potential short term bounce play on a close above today's high, but that's for a very little bounce. Any thoughts about Netflix earnings? No. It's really going to be their subscriber base and everything. That's what it keys off of more than actually their earnings number. So it's going to be whether they're gaining or losing subscribers and their subscriber outlook. Right now, we're just trading between these two major levels. had this little mini double top, which completed. You can almost, let me see what this looks like on the weekly. Yeah, this could be a weekly double bottom. This makes it sloppy right there. I actually have to update the harmonics lower, but that it can still be traded. So that's the only upside play, but you need to get above 396.50. Yeah, 396.50. And it's going against the rotation zone, and the first target comes on the other side of 200. So that is a very risky play there. You do have an aggressive buy above today's high. And by the way, earnings are tomorrow after the close. So this would just be sort of a gamble play. That's really what it turns into. I mean, if it had triggered, at least you have some probabilities with your favor. I mean, at this place, you're just it's just a go into earnings gamble play against key support, but earnings will gap it. So we shall see. I don't have any thoughts on whether they'll beat or, I mean, everything's going to be on subscriber base and then their guidance. So short-term levels, 321.55, 313.27. Genomic stock, DVN. Just trying to work out. I mean, this is just, it broke out of this major topping pattern. Just looking at the bigger term chart, you actually have run. It's still a little overbought, and unless oil starts really pushing, I'd be watching for some kind of potential pullback. Your minor is the 62.50. Your major area, your major pullback area is right around 58 with the rising 50. Let's just take a look at that weekly. And yeah, that would just be back in the weekly rotation zone. See, you're getting some divergences up here. It's running out of steam. Your cycles are trying to put in lower, but again, I would not be an aggressive buyer up here. I'd be watching for a pullback, especially to that 58 area. In the middle of that rotation zone would be really key for me. And I want to just see on this last little run up. Yeah, look, I'd be like right in here. Right in this area. 59, 58, 57, 25 would be where I'd be looking for a reversal on Devon Energy. Can you touch on Peloton? Raising their subscriber fees. Peloton's just holding right here, trying to put in a little horizontal channel. Can't get much traction here against the daily rotation zone. Again, the only way I'm really getting interested in this. Let me move some of this out of the... Oh, hold on. Let me get some of this out of the way at this point. The only way, again, it's trying to put in what looks like a bottoming pattern. You got earnings coming up in the beginning of May. I can't get really interested in it till at least it clears about 34.90, 35 area. I mean, we had the close below the 62.5. It's now tested this low range. It's back just above its lows from when it IPO'd before. This is the March 20 lows before it went on its little tear. This is no double because this hitch right here. Short term for a little pop would be above about 28.50. There's just not a lot of great stuff. That's the only thing. I mean, it's trying to put in some kind of base here. I know the new CEO is changing a lot of stuff with that from just a fundamental standpoint. So it's stopped its bleeding at this point. It's really going to depend on earnings, but since that's 3 weeks off, the only thing would be a little play on the upside, but that's like forced. That's the weekly, the daily. Let's just see where that went with the harmonic. So that hit that first 12.5% harmonic. So can you have a, there's just not, this is like forced, but there's, you could trade this almost as a double right there above 26.50, 28.49, 29.48, 30.47. Where does that sit with the weekly? That's just, yeah, that's the only play I potentially have. That's about it. Really don't have anything else on Peloton. You can keep a tight stop on that. That's what's interesting. Let's see. Ammo triggered 1 hour double top last hour trading, which lines up pretty well with the 1 hour rotation zone. I'm still long and we'll be looking to reload. Yeah, I'm watching. We got out of our MOs and I'm watching for pullbacks in MO. So yeah, that's pretty sloppy up there with this price action. But you know, let's just see where that. I already have an alert set. Let's just see. I mean, you have this, you have this. This is the better area right there. So that's coming just, I probably should raise my alert. There we go. Alert raised. Yeah, 54.33, 54.17, 54.01. Take a look. That's just returning it to the daily rotation zone, and that could even trigger without even getting back into this major top it just broke. So this key resistance area, you could just pull back into the daily rotation zone. That's very interesting off of this harmonic level, and we got out at this harmonic level, by the way. That's how we used the exit, because there was a lot of sell stuff up there rolling over into cycles. So yes, I am also watching for the bigger pullback in there. Twitter popped at the end because another company said they might join either Elon or any other bidders. But this is just going to be again headline trading right now with everything that's going on. We'll see what happens on 420 though. Little pop at the end. So there you go. Nothing. There's nothing I'm touching with this right now. So unless we really start breaking down below this 44, 46 area, then I'm watching for the gap fill. It'd have to even be lower than that with the rotations on about 43.55. What was the outcome with Tesla not including chargers with the car? Did they retract? I know that's what they said, and I haven't seen any reversal on that. So Tesla today, again, nothing going on until it's, for me, it's either above this 1022 area or below 975. It's just in this horizontal channel, so there's nothing to do there from my point of view. It seems that they are improving margins by cut stuff out of the cars. Soon seats will be an option. So much for innovation. Well, you should see, they remember, and with the European deliveries, they were leaving out stuff like USB ports and everything else and trying to install them when the cars came off the ships. So they shipped them without those parts. It's Tesla. I don't even know what to say. I'm not going to get started on that. Twitter downgraded today by KeyBank. Who is KeyBank? I mean, and upgrades and downgrades, what a joke that is too. I just like that what Goldman Sachs is advising Twitter on their stuff and they have a price target at 30. That's sort of funny. And I'm so tired of hearing about this poison pill and everything else. You know what? That is the smart move to do, because you could try to attract other bidders. You could try to get better offers. There's no reason all these Elon fans are like, they're not doing their fiduciary responsibility. Yes, they are, because they could attract multiple different bidders. They could even attract a higher bid price. And I hate that name, poison pill. It's really the shareholder dilution stuff, which has been going on since the 80s. People just, they're not for free speech. I could care less about this aspect. You know, I'm all for free speech and everything, and I hate what they're doing on the platform. But this is just part of an acquisition game. You strip Elon out of it, nobody'd be up in arms about the poison pill or anything else. The poison pill, if you're being advised by Goldman Sachs, is actually a very smart move. So, and if you're not seeing that and you're saying they should just accept the offer, it's higher than where it's trading now. That's actually not. I've been in these markets for over 30 years. That's not how you do this. Okay, start listening to some people. I know a lot of investment bankers. My sister was an investment banker. Her husband's an investment banker. I know a lot of people in this industry who dealt with mergers and acquisitions and takeovers, and this is the exact play to make if you are the Twitter board. I'm separating it from the free speech aspect because, yeah, I'd love to see, Twitter turned around. But look, this is just business at this point, and to maximize it. So, they banned Trump and not Elon. Well, again, and I'm not even going to start. And Elon complains they're going to turn this around. And you know what? Wow, what was that study that came out with over 22% of Tesla hashtag tweets since 2013 were related to Tesla bots? And Elon's complaining about bots. Don't even get me started. This guy talks out both sides of his mouth all the time. Yeah, Elon has the attention. Elon's for Elon's speech, not for free speech. So, separate from that, it's just a hostile takeover play that you're going to put shareholder dilution in play. Because, and also Elon's stuff is completely non-binding. They could say, sure, Elon will accept, and Elon could say, screw you, it's non-binding. I don't want it anymore. So it doesn't matter. You put out a non-binding takeover play, it's non-binding. People, do some friggin' homework and some research. Yeah, Elon should get banned too. He's one of the biggest, ever since his little funding secured thing, which the judge ruled. Did you see that? The judge ruled that for the shareholders that are suing him, that was a misleading and false statement, which then, he was back on that TED Talk reiterating it. I had funding secured. You're going to get me started. I had funding secured to take the company private, but I had to sign the agreement that took me off the board because the company was near bankruptcy and the banks are going to cut off my funding. So you had funding secured to take it private, yet you signed the agreement because you were worried about the company going bankrupt, but you still had funding secured? Which the frig is it? Okay, you can't have it both ways. And you don't tweet out when your friggin' Twitter channel, as ruled by the SEC, was viable corporate information. You don't tweet out funding secured. All it needs is board approval if you don't friggin' have it and you haven't presented it to the board. See, you guys get me all fired up. So I hate this, Elon that. You know what? The guy's all for Elon. That's it. That's my take. You can still trade Tesla, but don't get married to it. It's a very hostile takeover attempt by Elon, but he thinks he's on top of everyone. He thinks he's God's gift to the world. The SEC and DOJ is coming after him now. They've been coming after him for a while. There have been open investigations for many months, and I still see people saying, oh, they're going after him now because he wants free speech. These investigations have been open forever. Stop with this. Get your head out of your rear end. Please, at least do your research. At least don't try to have it both ways. He probably will go out with a bang. That's why I think there's a lot of risk in Tesla stocks too in the long term, because it's Elon. Everyone else on YouTube just agrees with whatever Elon has to say. I don't agree with what I do. My friggin' research. I'm not married to any stock. I'm not married to Tesla. I don't hate Tesla. I don't like Tesla. I trade Tesla. I'm not married to it. I'm not married to any company. Everything's a trade. Which, by the way, J&J, we've been looking at this, by the way, watching for earnings tomorrow. But this was an interesting little head and shoulder pattern for those who are interested in the way we do it. Head, neckline, broke today with the neckline. You project it down. So 176.41, you see I have an alert set here at 174.90 area, 174.80 area, 173.21. So I'm keeping an eye on that with earnings tomorrow. And why am I focusing on this area? Because you got the rising 50 right there. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. I'm glad you think Elon is great. We got a lot of people who think Elon's great. Can you tell me when full self-driving's coming? Or those robo-taxis? Hey, how about that battery swap he promised to get all those California credits with the car battery swap stations back in, what was that, 2014? How's that coming along too? Oh, how about those fake solar roof tiles that didn't exist when he showed them? You know, if he actually had a little credibility, instead of everything being like a pump, let's check ascending triangle and NASDAQ 15-minute chart. Sure. There. So you see that triangle in that mess? Ascending triangle on the NAS 15-minute chart. Ascending triangle. This one. I'm going from, you're talking about this, oops. This thing? That is horribly ugly, and I would not trade that as an ascending triangle. It's pretty much, I don't even want to see it come back down here. Now, the breakout play is just above that. You know, whether you go here or you go here or you go here, I'd be watch for early momentum above 13,980, but really the breakout play is above 14,000. Mike, if this Twitter goes through, will he sell Tesla stock or will he get loans against his Tesla position? Wondering if this is even legit, as he doesn't have the actual cash to do the purchase. He's probably going to need to bring other people in. He'd have to take loans. Remember, you can only take a certain loan and put him in a precarious position should Tesla stock start to sell off. So he might actually have to sell Tesla stock. Yes, his preferred thing would take loans against it, but we will see. You know, I actually think he'd have to bring more people in. But we'll also see. It could just be a short-term publicity play. You knowing him, you know, he could turn around on 420 with Tesla earnings and say, I'm no longer interested in Twitter. They didn't take my offer. I'm walking away. And remember, the offer he put out was completely non-binding. So we'll see. Who knows with him? I take everything he says with a grain of salt. Check out Walmart, Target. Walmart have been trading together recently, but they diverged today. Walmart looks toppy to me. Your thoughts? I was actually looking at Target earlier today on this rotation back up. However, you had this double on the short-term basis. So here it is on the 1 hour. It's looking toppy. Now, we did have this. Let me show you here. This horizontal play, first, second targets already hit. And that still is, I'm still watching now that's above this 200 for pullbacks to on a daily closing basis to stay above there. You don't really want it to lose that 200 at this point. The little topping play is very, very short. And see, that just virtually takes it back to the 200. So I'm still watching for increased strength in things like Target. Target's looks like it's in a better position. Walmart is looking toppy and has this pretty big double top pattern on it. I was looking at this on my other platform. So I am keeping an eye. If you made me choose between Walmart and Target, I'd be eyeing Target better than Walmart at this point in price per history. Longer term, you know, if we get Walmart back down into this area, Walmart could be a very good play tomorrow. Other things I'm keeping an eye on. I need a pullback in here. Dollar Tree definitely needs a pullback. Way overextended. But I am starting to watch, I would not be chasing this, but longer term, I will watch for another play in Dollar Tree. Another one, Dollar General. Also, you see my alert set in there, watching for a pullback in Dollar General. So some of this retail looks toppy, and if you maybe pick, again, between what I just listed, Walmart, Target, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, where it's trading now, I'd have to choose Target because it's the least extended, and it just got back above its 200 again. And even if it did return a little longer term back to this 226 level, I'd still be looking at a potential bullish play in it. Again, can't give you specific investment advice, educational purposes only. Let me know if that answered your question, Sterling. Why not just make his own social platform and be more cheaper than buying Twitter? I think his ulterior motives for buying Twitter, and I'm not going to get into that on this live stream. And it has to do with his tweet history, lots of stuff going on, especially the investigations that are going on. Cost, head and shoulders on 4-hour chart. I was looking at Costco too. This is also a pullback play for me. Yeah, you can trade this as a head and shoulders. This is completely valid. Here is your, let me remove some of this just so we can focus on this. Thanks, Rich. So if you're doing this as a head and shoulders play, again, head straight down to neckline, projected from where the neckline's broken, 50%, 75%, 100%. Where does that look like on the daily? What's interesting is lower probability since it is against the rotation zone and you have key support just at 571. However, on the weekly basis, it is pretty overextended and you are getting some divergences and weekly cycles rolling over. So this would be actually a really interesting play back into the weekly rotation zone on Costco. By the way, that other double never even came close to triggering. And you see on this weekly chart, push up, next harmonic could not get a close above it, and now has that short-term pattern Rich just pointed out. So that is a completely valid head and shoulders play to the downside. Would I be shorting in here? No, I'd be looking for these levels for reversal patterns back up. All right, great. Twitter's already an established social network and about the highest user base of traded his own platform. Not everyone will leave Twitter. Yeah, but everyone who's an Elon fan would join the new platform, and it would be the world's biggest echo chamber. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud. And look at the viewer count dropping. Okay. With that, I think I'm going to wrap it up today. Again, remember, before tomorrow, Johnson & Johnson, Lockheed Martin, Halliburton will be interesting. We could peek at those in the market preview tomorrow. Really, let's see how that J&J plays out with that little head and shoulders. I hope everyone had a great night. Got to keep this one a little shorter. Got to walk 5 dogs now and not all at the same time because that's too much. And give them their dinner and then back to doing more work. You are welcome, Wavy. Hopefully better volume tomorrow. Yep. Hey, could you give me a quick, how's the sound doing? I've been working on it this weekend. I raised some mic stuff again, repositioned some stuff. Let me know, is the intro still too loud and the mic's too soft, or is the intro too soft and the mic's too loud? Just let me know about that, please. So I'm just trying to get this balanced out for everyone. All right, sound is great on your end, Wavy. Yes, Sterling, again, Sterling, thank you for putting out those tweets on Path Trading. If you're not following us, it's at Path_trading for Twitter. All right, very clear. Sounds good. Have a good night. Thank you, George. Sound is strong. Thank you. Thank you, Bitewise. Mike's level sounds good too. Thank you for all that feedback. Again, please join me tomorrow for the market preview show. With that, I will say good night. Thank you, Amit. You also, everyone, have a great, fantastic night and rest well. Be prepared for tomorrow. Bye for now.